But I want to talk about the state of the heavyweights and just the state of heavyweights in America. Now, I'm not saying there's not great heavyweights in other places. Of course there are. But in America specifically, man, this is a conversation I've had for many years where we say that the reason why American boxing, is no longer great anymore. Same thing for MMA, the heavyweights, why they're no longer great, is because look at all the capable heavyweights that are performing in other sports right now. The basketball players, the football players, the people who are getting paid millions of guaranteed dollars in other sports, they're there. They have no real incentive to want to become a fighter, aside from like Greg Hardy, right, who gets kicked out of the NFL. Then he's like, okay, now I'll come over and fight, right? You have no real incentive because you get paid so much more lucratively and with less damage on your mind and your body than when you come into mixed martial arts or heavyweight. Now, football, you can argue differently on that one. But the point is, when you're 6'5", 240, you know what I mean? And you get paid, what are they making in NFL contracts, man? $10 million, something like that, versus here, come fight and put your life on the line and get paid $100K, $200K. Like, it's just different. So I think that's partially why, to be honest with you, man, I think that is partially why we have such shallow heavyweights. Look at all the heavyweight divisions, not just the UFC. Look at the Bellator's heavyweight division. Look at all of that stuff, man. I think that it's something that you definitely need to take into consideration. So do you agree with me? Do you think that there's a different perspective on there? What do you think?
No, yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's rough too, because a lot of the people, I talk to a lot of parents, trying to get the kids coaching and stuff like that. A lot of them think fighting is something where it's like, that's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. I don't want my kid fighting. It's like, bro, your kid is literally like a linebacker running full force, head down, just charging in. That's a lot of brain damage. But it's the allure of the NFL. It's the allure of basketball. It's the allure of all these things growing up. Like even when I was a kid, as much as I did, combat sports since 8, all the way up until, high school, junior high, whatever it was. You still want to be the 3-sport athlete. You still want to play, football, baseball, basketball. You still want to do all those ones because that's what's in the media. That's what's attractive. That's what, normal thing is. If you're the weird karate kid, nobody really likes that. So that's why I think a lot of the other sports kind of take precedent. And it's a thing when you were talking, there's what is it, 14 people on the field in each time, and those dudes are 300 some pounds. That's a lot of heavyweights we can put in the league, but they'd rather just be in the trenches, blocking, doing stuff, and it's just a little more apt, a little more easily accessible, if you will, to swallow for family, friends, and all that stuff. So that's where I think the hard part comes in, and that's why we see a lot of the young, the smaller fighting or the smaller weight classes have a lot more prominence, because you can't be 5'5" in the NFL. There's very, very few Muggsy Bogues out there slamming at 5'3", where we can see some banging fights at 5'3".
No, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. So I'd hope that there's going to be a resurgence. You know what I mean? But I do agree, it's the more socially acceptable thing is to play football, even though football is kind of getting a stigma now. But play basketball, play baseball, whatever.